Hey, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a different kind of video and I think it's kind of perfect because I'm entering kind of what feels like a new season, definitely more aligned. And I think it's funny that it aligns with my kiddos going back to school, really being able to step in. So I want to bring you behind the scenes, kind of see some of the changes and share with you some super exciting news that I'm getting ready to announce of some different changes that you'll see around here. So today I want to talk about how I use my tarot deck in my business. And if you've been around here for a while, then you've probably, or if you follow me on Instagram for a while, then you've probably seen me do my daily card pulls. I was really good at sharing them for a while. There's some seasons where I haven't used them, but I've really gotten back into that with having so much change going on, so much just really bold but aligned changes as I take on some different projects coming up. So I wanted to share with you, I shared a reel over on Instagram and got some great feedback and questions of people wanting to kind of see behind the scenes of how I do this, and honestly just kind of share my opinion and my experience of how this has helped me feel more confident in my business, feel more aligned, and honestly just feel really reassured in the decisions that I'm making and even the hard parts of the season that I'm walking through when it comes to both motherhood and business. Because as I've really been trying to, or like as I've been sitting through this last season, which I'll share with you in just a bit, I have learned that there's really not a world where there's both worlds. It's really more so my world altogether. Like that's just how I see it. So I think it'll make more sense when I put more content out, as you'll see that. But that's really when I've been asking for some guidance or like sitting down looking at goals. There's really not goals for my business and goals for motherhood because they work so hand in hand together. I think that's a better way to explain that, because my business, absolutely, as I've restructured this, if you've been around for this last year watching me restructure my agency, I'm getting ready to launch another business, which is not the exciting news, but that's just something to put on your forefront to get excited and that I'm going to bring you along the scenes with me. But on top of that, they feed off of each other entirely and they're affected by everything. So that is a lot coming off of this last little bit of summer, having my kids home with me. I was the camp counselor and doing all of the things with the kiddos. And honestly, I restructured my business so that I could do that and I could support my husband during this time. He's been working, not only has he just finished his bachelor's last year, I think it was like last summer, but he's already in his master's, and then once he graduates this summer, this upcoming next summer, he'll be doing a second master's. So we got some big goals, we got some big seasons, but coming from a world where it's very much so my husband and I tackling all of these and supporting each other, it is like we always call it like a pendulum swing. Sometimes he's pulling 80 and I'm pulling 20 and vice versa. So that's kind of like how we sit down. And if you want another episode on this, I have this vision of him and I doing some kind of podcast series or podcast / YouTube, obviously. But doing something in the lines of just kind of sharing the behind the scenes, because I feel like these things, especially nowadays, especially with other millennials like us who are in the depth of a constantly changing world and raising kids in it, there's so many things that aren't talked about that should be talked about, because it can feel really lonely, which if you've been here, this is the point of me sharing behind the scenes and bringing this channel to life and really just sharing the things that aren't talked about a lot and kind of just showing people that they're not alone in these specific seasons. So let's dive into the good stuff. Okay, first things first, when it comes to tarot, I kind of want to share how I think about it, how I use it. And for me, honestly, when I pull my tarot cards, I usually will do like a daily intention, then I do a monthly reset. So for me personally, I love being able to use this because when I do pull a card, I've noticed this a lot too, and I've been working with a amazing business owner who does human design and astrology as well, which astrology is very new to me. But I very much so work from a place of intuition, which I've never actually been able to name before, or like, I guess not allow it to make sense or have a space in my life, but that's how I've worked with my clients so much in the marketing world, where I've literally had people go, wow, Britt, like you're seeing into my third eye or something. And I know how to exactly put what they're talking about and their vision and put it into a marketing plan, put it into content. And that's where I learned that I love doing things so much, but I can't necessarily explain why I knew that this would work or where I would come with the idea. It's just something that I could sense when talking to them, working with them. And that's become a really fun part of what I do and working with clients and why I love it so much. On top of that, I have my analytical side and my research side. So I always work from a space of intuition and data and analysis. And together just forms such a beautiful world, incredible results for my clients, and honestly just something that I really love to do because it makes so much sense to my brain and I could literally do it forever. So when it comes to using my tarot cards, usually when I pull a card and you pretty much have a guided question that you ask it, it reaffirms the thing that I already kind of know what's going on in my life. Either I don't want to acknowledge it or I've kind of sensed it, but I wasn't quite sure if that's what it was. So kind of just having that, it's almost like a really trusted older sister or something like that, where they're like, yeah, of course this is going on with you. And it makes you feel like you're not imagining things, you're not crazy, and you're just like, wow, okay, this is happening, I've got this. And then you can also ask like what's holding you back and how to move forward and through things. So this was the first month that I actually sat down and decided to incorporate it into my marketing plan in my monthly planning. And so this is why I was like, I'm just gonna do a video on this because it seemed so fun. So as always, my husband gifted me this planner. This is from Barnes & Noble actually. And what's so fun about it is it has all the months in here, and it's a yearly calendar. So then here, this is strictly kind of what I use for like, not necessarily the planning for like mom activities and whatnot, but my launch plans, my business, and making sure that they're aligned. The best part of it too is that it has a huge section of notes in here. So this is where I plan to do my reflections, my intentions, and my goals moving forward, so that I can come and revisit it every month, but at the same time too, look back on it a year from now and see how this played together. So I actually have video of this, and I'll probably pop it up here on the screen because I'm still in amazement. I laugh all the time when the cards I pull just make so much sense, and I'm just like, well, that was obvious. And I'm just always surprised at how accurate they are. So before I dive in this, I want to share with you some of my favorite things about it. So especially if you're a newbie, or I honestly recommend anyone, this book is amazing. It's called The Kitchen Table Tarot. This not only explains different layouts, but it explains getting the gist of the cards and what they mean. And the reason why I love this and recommend it so much, and I'll make sure to link it down below, is that there are so many different tarot decks, and they're all going to have a little bit of different imagery, but at the same time, it's the general idea of it. So a lot of this too, the more that you'll do it, you'll have different interpretations and different messages that come with it. I always call them, you'll see me refer to them as downloads, because while it has the same general meaning, you can get an added message with it. So like sometimes I'll instantly know what this is and like what I need to do with it. And I think that just comes with practice of really listening to your intuition. So one of them, for example, I can't remember even what card I pulled, but I just remember thinking that, I want to say it was like the moon or something, which can be like a little scary card to some people, but it was more so like this overall feeling. And I just remembered thinking of the word surrender. And I was like, wow, this is entirely like my point in season where I just need to surrender and let things happen. Just fully step in, and not even, it's more so like stepping in a passive way into this new season, this new era, these new things that I'm taking on, and just like owning of myself and my business. And so that is kind of like the coolest experience when you do it. So then when you sit there and own it, I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense. It was also really cool because this, I guess, is something that was coming through at the time for like, you can hear it say is like the collective, like pretty much all society of like, there's just this kind of shift. And if you're watching this now in, let's see, it's the 12th of September. This was a few months ago. And I'm sure you're like, oh, this makes sense. So like end of August, middle of August. It was kind of during the craziness. If you ever have had any kind of Mars and no. If you ever kind of had any Mercury in retrograde, it can affect communication. Actually, NASA has studied, I can't even talk right now because I'm talking about it. NASA has studied this, and there's actual, like, just the way that the planets move, it does interfere with communication, but I am fully believed too, and if you've ever been through it, it actually will. I find it funny that I have a hard time talking about this when I'm talking about it. Mercury retrograde also makes it hard to communicate to people as well, like during those times. And so not only can you have like tech glitches, but like it's just the communicating. So that's why I just find it so funny. So side tangent there. But when you have your different cards, so there's a million different decks, and what I love about in here too, she will kind of give like the best beginning tarot decks to learn from. And I'm getting a collection, I guess I would say, but I don't necessarily like go out and find them. But she does a whole like list in here of what are great. So the one that I have and the one that I started with, they look like this. I don't even know where the case is anymore, and they are well loved, but this is the Anna K tarot, and it's just a bunch, it's very much so the basic one. And so the way that tarot cards work, I pulled some out for you guys to show you. So the way to think of it is kind of like playing cards. There's the 1s, 2s, 3s. You have the major arcana, which is like the moon, the star, the lovers, things that you've heard of. But then they also have the minor ones, and they always have a different, my ring light's gonna be on there, a different set, or the same symbols. So you've got rods, which can also be wands, and other ones. You've got the cups, you've got the swords, and then you have the pentacles, which people have seen. So you always have that, and they each have a different kind of thing. You know, water is always a sign of emotion, so anything that you always pull with the cups is always emotion. And in there too, it's interesting because you look at where it is in there. And so this is where I kind of say the more that you use them, the more you kind of get this like intuitive overall understanding of what's going on and how it directly relates to your life. So it's just the coolest feeling of it. And I feel like it just is that guided, trusted friend that like tells you, no girl, you're not crazy. This is real. This is happening. This is why you feel this way. And then just the added presence of like, okay, this is how we're going to get out of this. Or like, you're just going to sit still for a second. So let me dive into what my month has looked like so far. So I went and did this on, I think it was like the 2nd, because the start of school, any moms out there, oh man, it's been a year already. So like I said, when I sit here and do this, I just kind of like, sometimes I'll have some incense burning. I just kind of take a quiet space. And I actually did this, I can't remember if I did this. I probably did this when the kids were at school. I'll have to look back at my footage, but one of my favorite things is just kind of clearing my space. I always love shuffling my cards 3 times. It's just the number 3. It's my favorite thing. And then there's a different way that you'll learn how to do it. There's no wrong way, honestly, to do it. I will usually spread my cards out, and then whatever card I feel pulled to, that's the one that I flip. Other people will cut the deck and pull off the top. It's just honestly whatever practice you learn. Some people will shuffle it. A lot of things, if you see on like TikTok or whatnot, or any kind of medium or a tarot reader who uses cards, then you'll see them sometimes shuffling. So it's all just depends, and it's all personal practice, which can be overwhelming for someone who like loves steps and like a process like me. But I think that's honestly been like the coolest part of really owning and stepping into this, acknowledging my more witchy side. And like, I think that's what's been the coolest thing of seeing it so closely hone in my business and have these major results. And like, I have to say, this is personally for me, I've always had, not always, I've had a really strong intuition. I've gotten premonitions before. If we want to do like a like Britt After Dark podcast episode, I love to answer questions around some definitely more witchy things, but definitely more spooky things that I've had happen, because it did not happen and it was not woken up until it had things to do with my kids. And so that is an entirely different story. But if we want a podcast episode on that and like pour a glass of wine and talk about it, I'm all for it. And you guys can ask as many questions as you want and I'll film it. But if that's something you want, please let me know in the comments, or just like let me know over on Instagram, and I'd be happy to put that in rotation for filming. So let me kind of share, and this may change. I may even make a template for you guys to use and make yourself, because I feel like it's been so helpful so far. So ideally, and I do kind of want to share this in a documentary way too, and kind of like, I don't want to do gatekeeping. I really want to share with you guys like what my goals are and what goals didn't work out and what things I failed at, because I've learned to get really good at failing, because that just tells me what didn't work, what I can change, what I know, what I learned. It's always a learning opportunity. So I will blatantly share, because that is the point of how I wanted to step into this channel and this energy. So I will share with you guys my goals and whatnot. So this is for September, and I pretty much just wrote out the big goals that I want to do. So the first one is create community on platforms, consistency, and showing up and creating. As you'll see, it's been 2 months since my last video, and even the last one was, I so wanted it. Like, I loved it. It was fun, but it was definitely, it was a labor of love. And I think it's just because having my kids home, and I think definitely next year during summer I'll make some changes to my content plan or do it a little bit differently. There's definitely some mindset things going on as far as like filming with the kids in tow and whatnot. So I think that's just like, it's just a learning lesson. I don't think it failed whatsoever. My analytics still looked great on it. I met a lot of you guys who came in and subscribed to the channel and even came and hung out with me over on Instagram. So like, there is no failure there, but I do think it helps me align even more and tweak it around. So I love it. So continue to align my business and life, which has been some of the cool things that have shifted. And you haven't seen it all yet, but it will be coming, and I'll explain why you haven't seen a ton of it lately. Rebuilding some income streams, because I did allow myself to take some time back, say no to some projects that just didn't feel good versus just looking at the income. I am launching my personal site, which you'll see soon. So just so you guys know, if you're over here on the YouTube channel, I will probably share more with you guys than any other platform will get, just because I really want this to be like a trusted BFF energy type of place, and I want to do this with y'all. So I'm also launching, like I said, another business. I'm gonna not tell you exactly what it is just yet, because let me just put this out here. If you, goodness, the texts on voting season is just insane. If you are a business owner and are either struggling on Instagram or just kind of wanting a little refresh, please reach out to me, because I'm going to pick a good, maybe like 3 to 5 of in different industries to give you a little makeover, if you will, and try out I'm going to gift you some of these, this new offer that I have, and just kind of get your feedback on it and like go through the process, kind of be like my testers. But I really would love to feature your business and, give you a good boost, but also you'll be like the first to be able to experience this, which I just have such a good feeling about, and I'm so excited to bring it forth. So that'll be coming in this next month that this will be launching. But if you are a small business owner and would love to be one of my, not guinea pigs, but like VIP clients in the beginning, so that I can share your business and share the results and get you boosted and started on this with the results that you will get from this, please reach out to me over on Instagram and we can chat and I can tell you all about it. Okay, and then let's see. Oh, and that was it. And then launch the website. So let's see. The next thing that I wrote down is the rhythm and flows to adapt. And the reason that I say rhythm and flows is because I learned that there is not a thing as a routine, not necessarily like routine in our house. It's a flow. And like I think once we take the rigidity out of things flow 10 times better. I think that's the same too. And maybe it's just being like a creative business owner, but there is some days where I've had to really learn to allow myself, after an extreme point of burnout, to rest if I needed to rest, if I needed a nap that day, because why work so hard in your business to not be able to enjoy the perks of having your own business, if that makes sense. So that is some of like the learning curves and like why I adopted more so of a rhythm and a flow. It's the same way with like how dinner goes and clean up around the house and resetting the house at night, because I think sometimes, especially as a type A person who loves a good checklist, that can not only drive my anxiety, but it can make me feel like I'm failing or it can make me feel like in a really icky place of comparison. The rhythms that I want to continue to adapt or to incorporate, creating content creation flow that feels aligned and easy. And so for me, this looks like putting more out on YouTube, in creating a more real, like in time, like taking you guys through my thinking and sharing these goals with you and not feeling like I have to have it all together in order to share it. So again, taking the rigidity out of it, and it feels freeing, and I'm really excited to see how this actually translates and converts into analytics. So we'll share this in the I think I'll make this just a series and take you guys through and what is going to be for what is it? Oh my gosh, what's the next month? October? Yeah. Goodness, losing my mind. Creating an offer suite that feels aligned and fun and easy, waking up excited to share, show up and create and serve in my zone of genius, instead of full of anxiety and dread. And so that is extremely around. I had to get to a point where I had to delete my email off my phone because I was just dreading work in a way because there were some unaligned partnerships. And so once I got rid of those, like I've been through the walking process of walking it out, and I'm like, all right, we learned our lesson. Those didn't feel good. And the thing is, like, had I listened to myself in the beginning that it wasn't going to be good, then like it would have been fine. So learning lesson, putting that in my tool bag, but 10 times better now. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. And on top of that too, like the more that I have stepped through and gone through those things, the more that I know what I want in my business, what I don't. And with that, especially the way that I work with clients and where I want to put more time in this year, especially I'm doing a lot more things with my kiddos' school and our community, and like that makes me so happy. But at the same time too, my projection for income wise, and especially launching a second business, I plan on it being even more so than I was before. And I think that truly comes from being in a place of clarity and alignment. So again, all these things I'll take you through, and we'll talk about at the end of the year and then next year as well. So then I kind of just asked myself, one of the questions is, how is the work I'm doing showing up for the greater good for all? And I think this just makes sure it helps you kind of take the everything out of it and putting it down on paper. I think makes it more like feel more solidified and grounded, because you really understand why you're doing this. And like when I'm writing this, it's very free flow. It's very whatever comes to mind I'm writing. It literally is a place to get all the hand cramps. And so for me, it's just serving my people for my greater good. Not my greater, it's serving people from the thing that I truly love to do. And this is the announcement that I'll be sharing with you guys, because between all the research, the listening, the reflecting, the sitting, I'm creating something that has never been done before, which I was a little iffy at in the beginning, just because when I looked out there to do the market research, nothing had been done like this. And to my knowledge, still hasn't. So I'm so excited to be able to bring it to so many small business owners that are really in real life, very high touch, very just, the only way I can say it is just like truly transformative like way. And I can't wait to just serve people. Like that just makes me so excited, because I know how much my business means to me, how much my business and being a business owner helps me be a better mom. And honestly, just the financial blessing, getting to do something that I absolutely love and make money from it. Like, hello, like that's the reason why everyone starts a business, but I truly love doing what I do because it makes me happy and because it truly is such an impact for other people. So that is a big announcement that will be coming, and I just can't wait to do it. So it will be going live the first week of October. If you would love to know more about it, I'm going to leave the waitlist in the comments, and you can get, you'll put yourself on a waitlist so that it's no commitment whatsoever. You'll get more details. You'll get all the behind the scenes as I'm dropping it, and have like in real life know. You also get founding member pricing and some extra bonuses, which I'm really excited to spoil you guys with. So that link's down below if you want to do it. Okay, moving on. Let's see what I'm leaving behind in August. And this was just pretty much calling myself out on my bullshit and just being real with myself of like I have a tendency of holding myself to really high unrealistic expectations, and I knew that I was already doing that. So I found myself in a place of, this is what I put down, questioning my worth, services or perspectives based on others' thoughts, words, or opinions and actions. And then the self-doubt, money blocks, needing to do it all and keep up. And then the humanness in all the in all the areas. So just like when I felt drained, when I felt like I just wanted to cry because I was so mad. I'm an angry crier. I'm not a sad crier. When I get so frustrated, I will silently have the tears come because that's just hard for me to like understand certain things. So the reason that this was is just like I said, it was some unaligned partnerships, and I just felt it just felt so yucky. And so then I really had to sit and do and bring up all the work that I've done with myself of like, okay, other people's thoughts and actions and opinions, Britt, are not any of your business. So kind of just putting a band-aid on it, doing some healing, and we're letting that go. So that was what I'm for sure leaving behind in August. And then when you put it on paper, it just feels a lot more official and grounding. Okay, what I'm bringing through in September: the deeper intuition of my gifts in the spiritual world, continuing to share newly discovered or continuing to share newly discovered or partly hidden parts of myself with no fear or judgment, or rather welcoming it, bringing through my worth defined by me and me alone with no need to explain or prove, courageous action on the business ideas that I was given in with trust and purpose, because there are a few more that have been sitting in my notes app and I don't think they're ready yet. And I know that the universe will tell me when it's time, but like these two big things, the one new business and the special offer that I have coming, is just, I know it's time. And I've had so many things to just prove that. Okay, so the next thing I did was just kind of write down these affirmations, and I just let them come through to me. These are things that I come back to and reflect on, and things that I'm going to remind myself of. But now I want to get into the cards. So like I said, I spread this out, picked the cards that felt good to me. I tend to shuffle it 3 times. That's just what works for me. So the first question that I asked myself is, what are the current fears that I've been sitting in, and that translates to like, I'm leaving this behind. What am I leaving behind? So the card that I actually pulled was the Hermit. And so it's funny because actually in the working with an astrologer and a human design, up until I think like all through July for sure, when I almost took action and pulled the plug on launching this thing, and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. Just far as timing, I've been in a hermit space, just needing to sit and reflect. And like, if you look at this, one of the biggest things that you notice about the Hermit card is that he has a light that is only shining for him. And the reason that that's so special is the light's not for anyone else. He doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't need to convince anyone. It is absolutely from a place of knowing his worth, knowing that anything that is going to come through and that's meant to be will come through to him. And then from there, he just is kind of in a sit and like a standby. And so thinking back to like up until pretty much, especially during Mercury retrograde, like I just sat. Okay, so this is about 4 hours later because 1, I love to talk, I love to share things with you guys, but 2, mom life just interferes, and not interferes, it takes over, and we're gonna be swinging back and forth. So true transparency, this is just so you can see kind of how it goes sometimes, because I feel like I never saw it done by anyone else, or no one like shared that part of it. This is a little bit later. Went and picked the kiddos up from school, and then we had to go stop by Target to go pick up some gifts for our birthday parties we're going to this weekend, as well as look at these cute little planters they have. And this one actually lights up. So these are going to be going in my office. I've been trying to add little trinkets because they make it feel like 10 times better and cozier, especially since this is like my little hidey hole where I work. So anyway, let's dive back into where we left off, which was, let's see. Okay, getting into the cards. So wrapping back up with the current fears that I was kind of going through, what I'm leaving behind. And that was 100% in the Hermit phase. So this is what I pulled for that card. And it's funny because, like I was saying, when I was talking with the astrologer that I work with and the human design guide that she is. She was talking about how like she affirmed that that was kind of what was happening based on like my birth chart and whatnot. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. But also at that time too, I had so much clarification come through, so much like I really leaned into it of just like resting and sitting, because the act of not doing was the action I needed to take. And because of that, it brought so much clarity. It was action, but not action. Like, how do I even say this? Like, it was the action of not doing that actually moved the needle forward. So I thought that was really interesting. So if you happen to be in a space like that, sometimes it's different for all of us, but that worked out. Like, just not doing things sometimes when we're called to not do things doesn't mean that you're not going to generate and create those results. In fact, it's actually already happening, and the universe needs you to not take action and sit and receive and reflect, and it's really cool to see it happen. Okay, so that was that card. The next one that I did was asking my deck, asking the universe what I need to focus on or what I need to hear going into this next month. So for me, I pulled the Justice card. And so like you're thinking about like justice as far as like taking bold action, or like, how do I describe this? Let me put this book into use. So I actually will still use this when I pull cards to kind of get the meaning, because when you pull a card, if you happen to pull it in reverse, there's a different meaning. Not that it's opposite, but it's different in the way that you interpret it. So let me pull up Justice so that you can kind of see like how you can interpret this, or like what comes to mind for you, because again, like if someone else pulled the Justice card, it might be different. So, and I love the way too she kind of does their inner thoughts of this. So I'm going to read this verbatim from this so that you can kind of hear, and that way you get like a little preview if you want to go order this. So in here, the card is pretty much called like referring to I am balancing is the affirmation that's kind of with it. So she goes, I always thought that the Justice card was male, but then I did some research and found out that it's based on Athena. If you look at the card, there's no water, which is also like, those elements are huge. This is a bit unusual for tarot cards, particularly in the major arcana. No water, no emotion. This card is about being critical and impartial. There's no room here for empathy. Squishy emotional types like me get very uncomfortable when this card comes up. It's cold, objective, and very, very fair. It doesn't care if you had a bad day or if someone bent your feelers. Everything in this card is even. The robes are symmetrical, the pillars are parallel, and the sword held straight up balances the scales hanging straight up and down. So hers has a little bit of a different one, but they're generally, if you look, see, side by side, they generally have the same feel, the same energy of it, which is always so interesting to see. The robes are symmetrical, the pillows are parallel, and the sword held straight up balances the scales hanging straight down. I have a feeling that she would pull a Solomon without hesitation to cut that baby in half. She will start moving as soon as she makes her decision and will carry it out. Justice is about action. That's why social justice groups are always marching around and making things happen. They'd be called social idea groups otherwise. Also, don't forget that she's holding a sword. The sword suit is about intellect. If you can imagine that Justice is holding the Ace of Swords, you get an idea of the pragmatism that lives in this card. When this comes up in a reading, you have to take all your emotions out of the decision you need to make a list of pros and cons, do the research, be a brain, not a heart. It can also mean that you're about to get judged. You can't really hide from this one, and you can't lie. It's like Judge Judy has a bead on you, unnerving. So for me, the way that I saw this was it was time to come out of my hermit season and really start taking action on everything that I got clarity on, a lot more refinement with my offer that I'm getting ready to launch, and I just thought it was amazing. So this is what I wrote down that came to mind, and like I said, when I do this, I just free flow, which is like always interesting when you do it if you ever free flow write or journal or whatnot. So in here I put, it's time to start taking action on the space it's come to know and trust, or the space I've come to know and trust. No need to prove, argue, or feel a need of enoughness, simply acting on aligned action, and the balance will be ensued. So for me, that is sometimes I overthink and I'm very protective of my energy because the fact that I feel like I work alongside my husband with such a lean source of support where it's pretty much just him and I, that I have to be very intentional with where I put my energy, what I focus on, even to the point of like platforms that I pick, projects I take on. And so this is me trusting that taking action on this will be aligned action for what is needed and what's supported and what's been brought to me. Okay, the next one that I ask myself, and this is the monthly focus and intention. So what I need to hear. So I actually got, ooh, if anyone can see this, when I'm talking, I have the incense going. If the smoke goes straight up with like nothing moving, and like I'm even over here, I always talk with my hands. If it goes straight up, it means that the universe is reflecting and showing that you are very aligned to what you're speaking about, what you're doing. So like I always find like I feel like it's the universe giving you a high five. Like when I have a really great, when a tarot card comes and it makes sense, or when I see my angel numbers, I feel like it's a high five from the universe and like a way to go, bud. And I'm just like do a happy dance. I'm like, I got this, I can do it. Because sometimes we all need that. So this is the deck that I actually picked up at a local New Age store. And funny enough, when I picked this up, I was holding it around the store and I'd never actually bought cards like these ones I got from Amazon. They say some things about you have to be gifted them, but like obviously they work. I bought mine. And as I was holding these around, I was kind of looking around, they started buzzing in my hand. And I don't know if anyone else, maybe anyone who's more spiritual on the witchy side or whatever, it was such a cool feeling. And I was like, oh, these cards are going to be good. And so far they have delivered. So I will show you. My monthly intention card is this one. And I love the way that it talks about this. So of course it comes with a little book. And it's called The Solitary Witch. I'll see if it's I can find it anywhere online. I will link it for you. But always a little book. So let's see, what one is that? So it's Spells from the Hearth. Okay, so the meaning of this, it does have a little story, and I love this too because it has a little story, but then it has the like meaning. And so I'll just read that. Contentedness, stillness, plenty, watched over by ancestors, creation of magic, a sacred place within your home, the pleasure of your own company, herbs, cauldrons, familiars, and warmth, a well-stocked witch's pantry, quiet step-by-step, heartfelt, practical magic, productiveness. And when I just sat there, I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. Bringing so much intention into my home between rhythms and flows and even decluttering spaces. I'm getting ready to go through and do that again. If you haven't seen my declutter series, it's so great. And so I'll be doing this a lot more so with aligning the energy in the room. And I just thought that this was perfect, stepping into this and like really owning the alignment and the balance between not only the worlds of business and motherhood, but like really standing in my authority and my power of it as one world because it's my world. And I just love that. So I thought that was so perfect. So that was my monthly intention. And so that's what I wrote under here when I pulled that. These are my first thoughts. This month will be one knitted and formed with intention and heart, true creativeness, business decisions. Oh my gosh, if you can tell, this is how fast I was writing, trying to catch up with my brain. So like some of this I'm having to question what it's like. Reread it. It's like doctor's handwriting because it's usually not this bad. Business decisions to the care and the care and contentment of my home. I trust my intuition and influence, caring for my home, family, heart, and business. So that's what I wrote. Okay, so then this is where I actually started breaking it down into goals. And this I feel like I am going to put into like a template of some sort, or even like one that I may put it into a strategy that works. I'm still kind of playing with this. So if like printables or digital downloads or something like this are in your alley, let me know and I will push this up in the prioritization list. But this is kind of what I do. So business specific goals that I put under here is launch my personal brand website, the nurture sequence for that as well, which I'm thinking I'm going to film a whole process through how to set up a basic nurture sequence and like marketing funnel. So if you're kind of like fresher to the business world or haven't done that yet, let me know and I can make sure to get that going and created. I am in the process of creating a quiz. So all my Cosmo loving girls who love a good quiz, if you're curious if you're in autumn or summer, if you love watching Gilmore Girls, that is what's in the works right now. And it has something to do with the new business that I'm launching. So I'm super excited. That'll be my kind of beginning top of funnel. And so I'm excited to see how that works. My goal is to add an extra 1K of revenue into my business by end of month. Continue to grow with YouTube subscribers. So my goal is to get to 400 by the end of September. I think that's totally probably a stretch goal, but I also feel like it's totally possible. My goal is to get monetized by the end of this year. And I feel like it's like, I just have this feeling that it is so incredibly possible, and that it, like, looking back, I always sit in this moment in the future. I feel like looking back, it's already happened. So like, I'm really excited to see that to fruition. And then getting up to, with that too, to get monetized, getting up to 600 watch hours. So we'll be going back with these goals at the beginning of October. So you'll get to come along with me on that. So that's pretty much what I've done here. Like I said, I got this in Barnes & Nobles, but there are also some amazing ones, or just like a piece of paper, a journal, whatever. So I think it's more so just reflecting on it. The other thing that I wanted to do is kind of bring you through, and I think it's funny that this worked, like that it's the 12th that I'm filming now, because my tarot cards this week have been, like, they truly make me want to cry about them. And I'm not an emotional person whatsoever, because I'm just like, so, I feel like it's, in a way, it's like the feeling of a parent saying like, I'm so proud of you, like this is what's happening, I'm behind you every step of the way. And as someone who's in the online space, who has like a lot to balance and hold and responsibility, like it makes me feel so honored to not only be able to like bring this to the outer digital world with YouTube, but like just be able to share this and like share this journey. Like I feel so honored, and I feel so so proud of my past self for continuing to show up, because it's not like this just decision or like the actions have happened overnight. It is so incredibly just like cool to see how this has all worked out, and how many things that I wanted to work out so badly didn't work out, and had they worked out, I wouldn't be here and like in doing what I do now. And that's just so exciting. So let me kind of bring you in on some of this. So I did keep and pull these ones out because I thought this was so awesome. So the first one is, this was I always pull a weekly intention card. So let me pull this one out for you. So this is Her Knowledge Runs Deep. This is entirely focusing on the trust and guidance and alignment of like nurturing and teaching from like a place of service and heart and everything. Like, so this week I had a live with one of my mentors on IG. She reached out and I was like this was something that was just like not even planned, but it was just like, in a way I think about it, the universe like had already planned this, because we're all walking down our paths. But it was seeing these all come true, and I was like, wow. And the smoke's doing it again, so funny. So that's what I was so excited about. So with that one, let's see, because I love kind of bringing the proof to it, especially like to explain it to you guys, because obviously my experience is different from anyone else's, as it should be. So pretty much with Her Knowledge Runs Deep, it's when we must learn and we drift between the worlds, the beating of the drum of time fades, and we enter a kind of space in which we all wish to do is drink in its knowledge. She is in such a space now, reading from teachers from far distant lands, swept away from their stories and lessons, and somehow there's a transference, a transmission of energy, and she begins to discover what lies beyond this world. In this way we learn, and with this knowledge we can grow. We can learn to create, to solve, to identify, to understand that which is within, which not within our immediate experience. The glamour of faraway places, the traveling, the meetings of wondrous souls, all can be done in the world, yes indeed. But there is a wonder of journeys and good, true knowledge to be gleaned from books. This day, think of those books that have served you. Think of the books, think of what it is you wish to know, and immerse yourselves in the development of your abilities through the sacred work of the book witch. She will be, because they talk about different witches, pretty much different witches, like you see like kitchen witches, green witches. It's pretty much just like your zone of genius is the way I think about it. She will be at the books for hours, but eventually that cat shall be fed, and in the meantime the mouse will help the fairies devour their offering, at least until their candle burns low. So it's talking about a time to learn and a time to share that knowledge, and like the way that I felt this interpreted to me was the different chapters of my life, the different books that I've read and experienced, and being able to share that. So like that's why I thought it was just so cool, and especially like being able to get back on here and create with no like beating myself up for just having, you know, the learning space and experience of, you know, balancing motherhood. And that's why I think it's so interesting too when I'll be looking back a year from now, and I feel like so many things will be like, I feel like sometimes the disruptment of being able to consistently create on here, each piece I've put out, I feel like has made, like, it was created for one person. Like when I do that, I'm like, there are some where I'm like, wow, this probably won't get a lot of views, or I'm not sure, or maybe sometimes I just feel called to create certain things, and then all of a sudden I'll get DMs, I get comments, I get even emails I've gotten, and they're like, I feel like I found you for a reason. Your video just showed up randomly, and like, I could care less about any income coming through, because to me, having the power to show up in somebody's life in that way and just hold space and be there, like, means everything. So something cool to share. So this week as I was pulling cards, and like I said, I'll just kind of pull one, and it kind of helps me just like have a really great mindset, or like a focused intention and mindset for the day. So the first one that I pulled this week was the Strength card. And the way that this strength card always comes through is like a quiet strength. It's a strength of confidence in yourself, and almost like a strength of a mother, of just knowing what to do, the slow moves, the stability. And so as I was thinking about this, I felt a little questionable, and I had something later that day kind of come up where I started questioning myself. And I don't think it was my energy to take. It was just something that I felt myself kind of like respond to and like feel a little shaky. And then I was like, oh my gosh, remember the card I pulled this morning? Like, I need to sit in that energy. And like, that is what I think is so powerful about just setting an intention for the day, whether you do affirmations, whether you pull tarot cards. I think just having that mindset already subconsciously locked in for the day helps you navigate so much, especially if maybe you struggle with anxiety or finding your self-confidence, your personal power. I think that's huge. The second card I pulled this week was the Queen of Cups, and obviously cups is emotion. So this more so was, it's sharing in a way that comes from the heart, and not from rash decision, but from very heartfelt purpose. And so this was me sharing my knowledge this week with the intention that I had pulled for the week, but sharing it in a way that just focuses on serving and doing what I love and sharing that with others. And so I just have seen, it's just so cool to see that. And so this is today where I was just laughing today. So this is the Ace of Pentacles, and let me pull out this handy book. I seriously think like maybe we'll even do a gift away to this, because I just believe in this so much. I've actually gifted this to people before because I think it's just huge. And it's just such a great teaching tool to have to pull from. So when it comes to the Ace of Pentacles, so if you notice in here, it's very much so about the grounding and the earth. Let me find it so I'm not making paper noises, because that's just awful. Okay. So again, look at it, and like, I'm curious like what you guys will pull through from it, just seeing it. Ace of Pentacles is about grounding. She says, what I mean by this is that if you break it down into parts, you have everything you need to stand on your own 2 feet. The Ace is the essence of Pentacles. Earth, Pentacle is a magical symbol that holds within all the other elements. The 5 points of the Pentacles are for earth, air, fire, water, spirit. The first pentacle was likely to be an outstretched hand, 5 fingers, 5 points to the star. Things are coming together. As a magical tool, the pentacle is the shield which protects the practitioner from harm. Look at the mountains at the background with the wide path and the lush garden. The card is telling you that you're on your way to prosperity. Just keep walking toward the gate. I always imagine the Ace of Pentacles being under the client's feet. The pentacles are perfectly aligned with the earth and are stable and still. They're able to connect to people and make calm decisions. They're more financially secure than they may have ever been in the past. Standing at the center of a pentacle, grounded with the earth, welcoming prosperity and growth. This is the essence of the suit of pentacles, grounded, centered, balanced. This card is about wealth and prosperity, but also about pulling the energy into you from the earth. This card is about abundance, blessing, and luck, all good things. And so today was the day that I did my live, and it's funny, I even thought about it. Like, I love working with this mentor. She's been in my world for a really long time. She's so good at what she does. And especially being a multi-passionate, she's really helped me like own putting those things, not only like owning that I'm allowed to do that, but I can also make a business from it. And that's what I've loved so much, because it's truly who I've been and who I've become and who I am. And so being on this live with her, not only did I get to share my knowledge, but I realized I felt, and I even went back and watched it. I love watching content of myself because I just get so hyped up about it, and not even from like a conceited way. I just get so excited that I get to share this with other people. And then I always think about it and I'm like, wow, if I can do this and show this, even if I felt so scared or uncomfortable, like I can't wait to say, if I can do this, you can do it too, and I'm here to cheer you on. That's always my underlying message for it. So when I was doing this and I was on the live, I just felt like I was so grounded in it, so in such a place of personal power, which is something I struggled with for a long time. And even earlier last month felt so shaky on it because someone else had shaken my foundation because I let them. And so being able to pull this, I just felt just so affirmed with where I'm going, and that everything is literally coming together. And even I had another email come through about a client. I have this local, like, possible client. We actually just were introduced through other means, and tomorrow we're creating some content together. And I was just giddy. I was just like, how is this happening? Like, the only way I can honestly explain it is magic. And honestly, I feel like when you work with the universe, even from a scientific place, you know, Newton's law, whatever energy is created, like, it can't be destroyed. It's pretty much just learning to work with it. And I feel like when people talk about, you know, like manifestation and stuff, it's honestly just learning the frequencies around you and like going with it versus against it, and using it kind of to your advantage in a really great way. But with this too, it makes me think about like the algorithm, like work with the algorithm, let it pick up the best parts of yourself. And so create with that in mind, but from an authentic place too. So that's why I always call it marketing magic. Like, it truly is like marketing alchemy. And like, I'm so excited to bring this. So I hope that that kind of helped like break down. Like I said, I know this is like a little off key from what I normally do, but it has been so helpful for me just in a place where there's been so much growth and coming out of some seasons that have felt like so much turmoil. Like, I have such a sense of peace, and if that can, even little bits of this can help somebody else, then I'm all here for it. So if you have questions, please feel free to drop them below or reach out, or if you want to see anything else or chat with me over on DMs and Instagram, I'm happy to. Also with that too, and with this new offer launching, let me share a little bit with you about it. I will be doing more of the sit down teaching, especially something like more tutorials and how to. That is going to be going into a secret vault that is going to be in this new offer. And it is solely an offer that is created on something that I've seen over the last 10 years. So if you are a business owner watching this, you're probably have felt the intuitive nudges that have been happening of how marketing has changed so much. Not only have we reached a place where we're watching over 200 videos a day at minimum, but it's no shock anymore that we're being sold to, right? With this, marketing has changed. And over this last year, after working with almost like within a greater part of a decade working with clients, there were so many times where clients would come to me, and while the service did help a little bit, I saw this huge gap where I was like, we could maximize your results so much. Like, what you're getting is not happening because there are key parts missing in their overall business or strategy or something. But I was only hired specifically to work on a certain strategy, like social media management or specific service. And so with that, I started doing the research and seeing this. And what's funny is it would be different with each client. One person would be missing one part where another client would have that, but they'd be missing something else that someone else had. So it kind of was this whole thing. So as you know, my brain needed to know this. I knew something was going on. I've started doing some research, and it's so exciting to see these big brands doing it because I actually have the data to back it up. So with this, I am creating a membership called the Creative Edit, and it is all about being able to create a really strong and powerful and impactful creative strategy. And a creative strategy is a mix of your brand strategy, and no, that's not your logos or your brand colors, but it's everything about how your buyer thinks, how your buyer buys, your audience thinks, what they Google at night, what they're doing on the weekend, like knowing them to the core. Then it's your social media marketing plan. What platforms are you on? How are you incorporating that? What is the frequency? What does that look like? How do you match it and optimize it and maximize those results? And then with that too, it's also your content strategy. So all those things go together. And when businesses do this, not only are they making, as the data has said, and I'll list the link down below so you can read it. The study said that on average, businesses were making 67% more gross revenue every year because of creating their marketing plan from a very aligned, very unique creative strategy. And I kept thinking, okay, well, if these brands can do it, what can we do for smaller business owners who have really great services and can personalize things a lot more and make it fun? And so that's how I have created this. So this is going to be a membership-based platform, a membership-based service, and it's going to be specifically for small business owners, who are not only e-commerce. I've seen these work all over. If you want to go check out this live, I can link it below as well to check this out, because I gave a few different examples in real time about an e-commerce company, a service provider, and a few other things, because it's just so powerful and how that translates obviously and converts into money. But people who are doing this, business who are doing this, are getting richer conversions. So obviously more followers, more saves, more virality, more chances for virality. And then you have more revenue, and then you have more to not only become something that your people are obsessed with, but you have repeat buyers, repeat clients, and lifelong people. So then your referrals actually come from that too. It's a money mastermind in its own. So this is what's going to be on. I'm going to leave a wait list down below, and feel free to pop yourself on there. No commitment necessary, but you'll be first to know. You'll get bonuses for enrollment. You get founding member pricing, but this is my baby. I've never seen anything like this launch, and I'm so excited. So that will be launching in this next month. First week of October is when it's going to be opening, sometime around there. And also got affirmed that was like a good point in my birth chart to do that too. So like, I'm so excited to take you guys with me. I will be filming the launch behind the scenes, so if you have questions or want to know how the process is, let me know. But that is all for today. I'm so excited I got to catch you guys up. If you have questions, please let me know. If not, make sure to like this video and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure so you don't miss something else. And I will see you in the next video.